It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel, Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is with us in the booth, and you're watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and 790 The Score in Providence, Rhode Island. And you can listen to it on the radio Saturdays, 12 to 1, or you can get on their website and stream us. It's thescore790.com, right, Mark? I think I got that right.
I think you got that right. I think you got that right.
790.
Joe's gonna have to double check.
I was sick last week, so I don't know what's going on.
That's why you sounded like you were like in a tunnel. I don't know what you sounded like last week.
I'm still playing. I'm still playing a little hurt. So I'm limited participation, but we'll be okay. So hey, listen, give us a call and heated hotline. So let me explain what that is, okay? For you 790 listeners who are brand new to the show. We record earlier in the week, and then we air at 12 to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. So you can give us a call on our heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Leave us a message. You could do it 24/7. Have a take. Anything's on the table for you. So, you disagree with Mark because he's wrong about everything. So you can call in and let him know how wrong he actually is and, how right I usually am.
Listen, the longer that they listen to us on 790, they'll find out that you're full of beans because I'm always right. Always right.
He's an expert in his own mind. So let him know that on Heated Hotline, 855-313-7287. And send us an email in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Hey, we got a good one today. We're going to hear from one of you in the nation right off the bat in Heated Hotline. And in Weekly Rewind, we'll go back, look at that Miami Dolphins game. And, of course, Catone's comments. You never want to miss that, so stick around that later in the show. And we'll welcome in the Pats Nation for a preview of the Washington Commanders game, that bond burner that's going to kick off at 1 p.m. tomorrow. And, of course, we're going to try to make you some money in Sunday Spread. I told Mark, we've been pretty good. We've been making these people some. If you're listening to us.
We've been, listen, the last 2 weeks, Chris, we've been hot. We've been red hot.
We are hot, and so we're going to continue to do that. But first, we want to hear from one of you in the nation. We're going to do it in Heated Hotline, and we're going to do it now.
Hi, guys. This is Jim from Providence. Great show. Listen, every week, Celtics are off to a hot start. I think they will sweep through the East, and on the way to the finals, they will beat Denver in 5 games. What do you guys think? Best team in basketball, go Celtics.
A lot of energy, Joe. A lot of energy.
Yeah, we're going to pick it up after this.
I'm telling you.
Last week.
Jim, thank you. I know. Jim, thank you for the call. Mark, this is the kind of energy you need to be bringing every week.
Yeah. Listen, you sound like you're ready for, I don't know what you're ready for. Me.
Yeah. So, listen. Talking to Jim calling in about the Celtics. And, there's a lot of green teamers out there right now. What are we, 3 games in, 4 or 5 games in, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That this is it. They're going. They're the best team. They're going to wipe Denver's, for them and all this stuff. So what do you make of that, Mark? Do you agree with Jim?
Well, listen, I definitely think they are definitely one of the better teams, if not the best team in the East. And they may run through the East if they stay healthy, Chris. But a couple of things do concern me when it comes to them. Just, first of all, the bench. And I know most teams in the East don't have much of a bench, but he's talking about rolling through Denver. I just don't know if we have that type of a bench, Chris. I mean, but it showed against the other night. Miami. Against who they beat. No,
Miami.
Not Washington. They killed Washington.
Yeah,
they brought the bench in. The bench almost lost. They didn't lose it, but they let them back in a little bit.
To 20. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, the game against Miami, Chris, the other thing that scares me is Adebayo. He pushed Porzingis around like a rag doll. Okay, so the physicality of Porzingis scared me a little bit because Adebayo had his way with him. So if he had his way with him, a guy like Jokic will put him in the second row. of the stands. He'll be watching. He'll be watching from the seats if he against joking. But the other thing is you're going to have to limit and manage Porzingis' minutes. He's never put in a full season in his career, Chris. If the Celtics can stay healthy, I do agree with Jim from Providence. They'll win the East. They should roll through the East, Chris. Let's not get ahead of ourselves with the finals. But staying healthy is going to be important.
Well, yeah, let's stick with the East right now. It's such a long season. Look, I mean, I agree with you. Last week when we talked about them, we focused on the first game because there were some things to pull out of that game, and we didn't really talk about the Miami game. And then they've, since played again. But I said last week that once teams start to after the New York game, once teams start to really prepare and plan for Porzingis, you may see a little different. You may see a little different thing. Maybe 30 points and 4 blocks and the stuff he had in the Knicks game. You're probably not going to see that. I agree with you with managing his minutes because of injury. And there is no depth. There's no depth behind him. Robert Williams is gone. Al Horford's 176 years old. Not that there's anything wrong with being 176 years old, but when you're a professional athlete and you're 176 years old, that presents obvious issues, right?
And you should all about that T-Rex. For those of you that don't know Chris, I call him T-Rex.
Yes. And so the thing with Porzingis is, the problem with Sleepy Joe over there is I don't think he cares about that. I mean, you watched him play Tatum, there was hardly ever a rest for him, throughout the games and things like that. So hopefully he gets it because, with Cassell being there and some of the veteran coaches that are there to help him out as far as managing minutes. But Mark, the big thing for me isn't about Porzingis, and I think they're the favorites in the East because I told you last week, I think they're going to have an easier chemistry transition with Drew Holiday than I think Milwaukee's going to have with Lillard, because you're really dealing with 2 1s. Giannis and Lillard are 1 and 1A. Even more so than it is here with Brown. So how's that going to mesh? How's that chemistry going to be? And Holiday leaving that team and some of the other exits are a problem there too. But Mark, the biggest problem on this team is going to be Brown, because you saw it in that New York series when he's not getting the love and he's not hitting shots. He's dribbling off his legs again. He's dribbling off his knees. He's trying to drive against 2. He's not seeing the outlet pass that he should be making ahead of time. He's just not working within the confines of the offense. And then he gets irritated, starts fights with other guys on the team. Not chemistry, but his buy-in, Jaylen Brown, could be a problem. And I have a theory on this of what that I told you that I think you should, but go ahead. Give me your opinion on Brown being
Brown, listen. Yes, if it becomes the Tatum Porzingis show because of his contract and because of he's made the comment before that, I can be a 1, but I take a back seat for the team. It may be an issue if now he's become a 3 and he's not the 1, but he's not the 2. Well, yeah, I think you're right. You'll start to see some issues on this team as far as chemistry. I'll use the word chemistry. But I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. The other night he had 36 points against Washington. So I think he will assert himself and do what he needs to do. I don't think that he's going to be the same old Jaylen Brown. I still think when you get into a playoff series, you'll see some of him go back to some of those same habits that he has, because that's just who he is, right? He's not all of a sudden going to change this year. Why? Because did he do it different? What's he doing differently? Oh, he worked out differently, but that's not changing the player he is. Okay. Yeah. Neither one of us thought he was a super max guy. They gave him the super max contract. It is what it is. But I know you got a theory about Jaylen Brown. Why don't you tell the viewers?
No, I don't think he's a super max player. And as such, see, my problem is this. Porzingis being here, you can see it. You can see how Tatum plays off Porzingis and so on, okay? Because it's a different kind of player on the court. It's not somebody who does the same. Mark, you and I have said it for 2 years now. These guys do the same thing. I mean, Tatum's the best player on the court. But Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they don't play off each other.
No.
They don't complement each other. Either one sits on a wing and allows the other to play his game, or the other one does. while the other one takes a break down the court. Whereas Porzingis, you play the inside-outside game, okay? And you saw that in game one, and I think Jaylen Brown saw that. So my theory, okay, and this is my hot take, and everybody's going to think I'm nuts. You could win as many championships as you want to if he was your sixth man. If Jaylen Brown was your sixth man and he could eat his stupidity and his ego and be the best player on the court with every second unit out there, do you know how much pressure that creates for other teams? Because I don't think you need him to be one of the top 5 on your team. I don't think he needs to be on the court.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
all right, that's a good take, but I'm going to tell you this
why?
is never
Why?
going to. Because listen,
it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. Number one, he's a super max player. Number two, Mazzulla. Chris, he couldn't get guys to come off the court last year to take a break because they wanted to stay on the court, and they basically walked away from him. You think he's going to convince Brown to be the sixth man? Never ever. Yeah, I know you would, but it's never gonna happen. So get that out of your mind, because that's never happening on this team.
No, I know,
okay?
but it would work. I'm telling you, it would work.
I agree with you.
He's not a supermax player, Mark. Period.
He's not. But listen, but I do think you talked about players feeding off of each other and complementing each other. I do think Porzingis is going to complement what Tatum does, and I think once he gets himself acclimated into a rhythm, I think Drew Holiday is going to complement these guys as well.
Yes.
I mean, it's early yet. I think once he really carves out his role and his niche on this team and what it's going to look like night in and night out, I think you're going to see him also be one of those guys who's a guy that complements Tatum as well. So to your point, Chris, you may be very well right. Jaylen Brown may be the odd man out. So, but
hey, listen,
they're not going to pull him out of the starting rotation.
They had a meeting. They talk about all this. They said they had this team meeting before the season started, and no one guy is more important than the other. We don't care. We don't care who comes off the bench, and we don't care who's in the starting lineup. That's not what we're about. Well, put your money where your mouth is, Supermax guy, and do what's best for the team, because to me, this is going to become a problem. So, Jim, thank you for
Was CORSO Catone in that meeting?
I'm telling you, right? We should have been in that
Unfortunately, no. But I don't want to be in that meeting. I want to be in the Patriots draft room. That's where I want to be.
Well, that's a story that's going to be coming up soon, and probably in this show. But yeah, listen, Jim, we appreciate the call. Make sure you're giving us a call in Heated Hotline to give your hot take on our hot take and let me know how wrong I actually am about Jaylen Brown, except I'm not wrong. So Heated Hotline was presented by, what are we presenting us by, Joe? CORSO and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Hey, when we come back,
Real.
it is. When we come back, we're going to be going back and looking at the week that was, Mark, and talking about that Patriots game against Miami.
Do we have to?
We have to, and we have to have a reality check, and we'll do it right after this.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's it.
What is wrong?
Get him on this damn show.
You lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England feel. It's going to be real.
Back in with CORSO. We are the real deal New England feel, Mark.
Of course we are.
Absolutely are. And as such, we have a few things to say about the week that was, and we're going to do it in Weekly Rewind, Joe.
I'm getting it. Going back through the week. About a weekly rewind.
So the Patriots go down to Miami, and they drop that game 31-17 to the Miami Dolphins. And everybody was pretty hyped up the week before, beating Buffalo and thinking, okay, we turned the corner. Mark. Yeah. You go down to Miami, and it was 24-17 at one point, but this wasn't that close, was it, Mark?
No, it absolutely wasn't that close. Miami did whatever they wanted to do. They dictated pace. They dictated everything. They made a couple of mistakes. Tua throws the pick. They fumble coming out of the break in the second half. Otherwise, they probably score in the 40s, Chris. In this game, it's another blowout, just like Dallas, just like the New Orleans game. So, no, Yeah, I get it. Got the 24-17. And at that point of the game, you said to me, Mark, it don't matter. Miami's going to get the ball and use up the rest of the clock because they can do whatever they want to do. And that's exactly what they did, Chris. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, they put it in to make it 31. So, Mark, offensively, when you break this thing down and you look at comparatively from the Buffalo game, now you look at it against Miami, they put up 17 points. Now, 2 of those were on short fields, right? 2 scores?
Yes, short fields, 2 scores, a field goal and a touchdown off short fields. They get the interception from Duggar, and they get the fumble recovery. And the fumble recovery, Chris, was important because you couldn't get a touchdown off of that. Maybe that would have changed momentum. They could only get the field goal, right? But, yeah, you got 10 of your 17 points, Chris, were short fields or for turnovers. And that was it. You only scored another 7.
Well, start with the quarterback. I mean, Mac Jones was 19 to 29, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. A typical Mac Jones day, a rating of 88.
Typical Mac Jones day.
What would you make of him and the offense?
Okay, so let me first address the interception because everyone's talking about the interception. The Bourne, Ramsey picks it off. It was horrible. He's got no arm strength. They're going on and on and on and on. Okay, so listen, there's a few things at play with that whole sequence, Chris. Okay, first of all, there were 3 levels of things that were going on in that play. Okay, first, you got Douglas's late motion. Okay, second, you got Devontae Parker's route, which I'm going to get into, and then you got Bourne. Okay, so Jones on the snap, Chris, when Douglas goes into his late motion, he's supposed to play fake to Douglas. But the play fake was so bad, he fooled nobody. Nobody on Miami thought that ball was going to Douglas because Jones, he's moving his feet. It's quick. It's almost like he's panicking, like he's nervous. I can't even describe it, Chris. But the play fake was so bad that Douglas's late motion was meaningless. So O'Brien's trying to do things scheme-wise. That Jones blew that just by the way he did the play fake. Now, Parker, Chris, on this play, okay, Parker is on a vertical route, but he's supposed to run a vertical post to the corner of the end zone. If you watch the play, Chris, that really is what that play was set up for. It was supposed to be a vertical route and it's supposed to go to the post,
like a corner,
like a post corner, right? And off of that, Jones can either look quick if he's there, throw it, and then he's got Bourne out there. Parker, Chris, runs directly at the safety and doesn't run the post. So Ramsey, if he runs the post, Ramsey's got to either pick him up if the safety don't go with them, or at the very least, if the safety goes with them, Ramsey's got to hesitate for a second to make sure that that's happening before he turns back to Bourne. Parker blows the route. So Ramsey automatically knows, okay, it's not going to him, and he flips back around. Bourne, on the play, Chris, should have been looking much earlier. He's not even looking for the ball. So in Jones's defense, Jones is hesitating because Bourne's not even looking for the ball. He's running towards the sideline. He turns late. Listen, the throw was horrific. Either shouldn't have been made, or if it was going to be made, it had to have a lot of zip on it. He did float it. That was on Mac Jones. That ball can't be thrown like that. Can't be thrown, right? However, there were other things at play, Chris, also, which I haven't heard anybody talk about, right? I haven't heard anybody talk about the other things, Chris. That's like a microcosm of the Patriots season, Chris. It was a schematic breakdown, okay? There were breakdowns all over the field on that one particular play, and this happens repeatedly. So no matter what O'Brien puts in place, Chris, this is happening repeatedly.
They were in cover 3 or cover 4 in that situation. Parker, Ramsey, Ramsey was not playing deep safety or deep.
No,
he's playing more of a cloud coverage, which is kind of in between Adolph. And then I listened to guys this week talking about, you got to get a jam on him. You got to either play back or you got to play up. No. That's the defense they were playing. They were playing a cloud coverage. It's a whole shot. The bottom line is that's a shot that they want to get in between there, okay? Where as soon as Bourne wheeled around and was wide open at that moment, okay, you're talking about Ramsey's pick the other way, right?
Yeah.
That's a whole shot that Mac Jones has got to hit his back step and he's got to throw it to that hole. Problem is he came late. Then Johnson's like, well, you should have thrown it a little more zip on the ball. Yeah, maybe, but he should have thrown it 3 seconds sooner.
He should have, Chris, but if you go back and look at the tape, Bourne wasn't looking either.
Yeah,
3
so again,
seconds
it's
sooner.
not, you can't put that on Billy O.
No, you can't. Now,
he was wide open.
He was. The other thing, Chris, is at times, I know the percentages were awful, but I still think they could have ran the ball against that team, Chris, and they didn't do it. They didn't push it. They didn't try it. They didn't do things to try to incorporate the run. Because there were a couple of times, Chris, Stevenson and Elliott didn't look bad.
No, they ran 19 times for 77 yards.
But they didn't really try to establish the run, Chris. No. Again, run the damn ball. Come on.
Yeah.
And the offensive line, Chris, I mean, they didn't play as well as they did against Buffalo. Okay.
He was sacked 3 times.
He was sacked 3 times, right? I mean, come on. They didn't play that well. Onwenu didn't play that well on Sunday. But
he was hit 7 times. He was sacked 3 times.
I am going to give props to somebody, though. And you're going to get very upset with me. You know who had a good game?
I don't want to hear it.
Trent Brown.
I don't want to hear about it, though.
Chris,
I don't want to know that.
Let's see.
He's on the injury report again this week. He's on the injury report.
But listen, I'm going to tell you why.
He's in practice.
But Chris, listen, he didn't play bad. Listen, at the end of that game, Chris, he couldn't even walk on his ankle, but he toughed it out. Listen, we always but we always say, he's a bum. He toughed it out. The kid played, Chris, and the kid did not have a bad game. It was not on Trent Brown.
He was their best offensive lineman.
He was their best offensive lineman Sunday, and I never say that. I never say that. Right? Yeah. So offensively, Chris, much of the same. Breakdowns, bad routes.
Because I hear it was a lot on coaching. They were giving it all on coaching this week, was it?
One other play, Chris, I want to talk about. They call a play. They run a play. They got a bunch formation. And then eventually 3 receivers, Chris, go out into the route and end up in the same area.
That was a bit early on in the game.
Early in the game. Bourne's going bananas. Like, what the hell's going on? You think Parker ran the wrong route. Why don't you explain that? Parker runs the wrong route.
Because they're in the bunch formation, and Parker's the inside man in that bunch. I believe he was the inside man on that. Maybe not. Yeah. He may have been the outside man, and Douglas came underneath. But if Bourne ended up, the way Bourne ran that route was it was almost like a deep comeback route, and it seemed to me Parker was trailing behind him a little bit, but he ended up in the same spot. My guess is that had to be an inside route from Parker, where it was either a slant, a deeper post, sluggo, like a little slant and go, something that pulled him away from that bunch into more of the center of the field to draw safety inside. That's what it looked like to me. Now, I didn't go back and look at the coach's film on that play, but I'm going to blame Parker because he sucks anyway.
Yeah, Chris, and like I said, he ran the wrong route on the interception too. Instead, he runs right at the safety, and he's not supposed to. So
he shouldn't be playing anymore. That's it.
He shouldn't. But offensively, Chris, it was much of the same that we've seen in all their losses. He didn't. Jones doesn't play well. They can't run the ball. The receivers are running the wrong routes. They're disorganized. Is that coaching or is that the talent on the field? I know that's a debate that we can have, but
not today. Chris, not that day.
Not today. No, it wasn't the coaching. I don't think it was either.
No.
But Chris, defensively, they looked like there was some significant breakdowns in that game.
So Tua threw the ball 45 times. So he's 30 of 45 for 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had the 1 interception, right? Okay. So here's what I saw. He was sacked twice, but they did get some pressure on him. I had no problem with the way the defensive front played. Okay, I thought they got pretty good pressure. I thought they got some good edge pressure with Keon White, when he was in the game.
White had a good game when he was in the game.
He did have a good game.
He played well.
So I thought the defensive front played well. There was one time, and I don't blame them for it, because that one coaching mistake I saw was when they decided to go on 3rd down or 4th down. One of the 4th down plays, they decided to go man coverage for some strange reason and not have a spy on him, and he just ran easily for the 1st down. But I don't have a problem with the way the front played. Okay. I'm going to say it again. Okay, I'm going to say it again. And this time, I mean, these two fools that were doing the game on the network that was airing it.
What was that? The
I don't
F
know who that
crew,
was.
Z crew. Wait, that was like
Whatever
the
they
worst
were.
crew you could get together. Where
Even
did they get
they-
those guys from?
Even they saw this, where they saw Tavai or Bentley trying to get out to the sideline for a route to cover a route, and they look like me trying to get out to the sideline covering a route in the NFL game. They said it's a little too slow to do that. Why? Because they don't belong on the field as inside linebackers anymore. That's it. They're not off-ball linebackers. They don't belong out there. They're too damn slow. I don't care how smart they are. Go do calculus then. I don't care. Get off the damn field. You're not a middle linebacker. That's one problem that I saw. Okay. And so, so they get caught in coverage and they can't cover anybody. Now people say, well, they took the ball away twice, No, Miami gave them the ball twice. I mean, that interception at the beginning of the game from Tua was atrocious. That was one of the typical Tua plays where he just gives the ball away. And then the other one was what? A fumble snap?
Yeah, fumble
Oh,
snap.
no, fumble handoff.
Fumble
He was trying to
handoff.
hand the ball off,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
nothing to
being
do
at the
with
right
the
place
defense.
at the right time. So they were perfect on fourth down. They couldn't get off the field on fourth down. Our defense couldn't do it. All right. So that's another issue. And the secondary continues to be a problem. I heard all week long, and I know we're over, but I heard all week long, okay, about how poorly we were outcoached. We were outcoached in this game. No, I didn't see that. That little bench motion that went to the sideline, I said last week they need to get that under control for a key to victory. They did, for the most part. They did. They pulled another safety out there, somebody with a little more speed, and they held their ground. They held their space. And so it created a problem for Tua on where to throw the ball. Fine. I thought the scheme was good. I think the secondary was bad. Okay? You talk about that play. I don't know which one you want to talk about first. You want to talk about the Hill touchdown, or you want to talk about the Waddle touchdown? Mark,
Why don't we talk about the Hill touchdown first?
Yeah. So this was the problem that I had, okay, with that. So what you have is you have Hill run a go route. It's maybe a little stutter and go, but it's off a play fake. Okay? Now, you're out there defending Hill, who just will kill you. Will kill you down the field. We all know this with his speed. Okay? So you have the corner on that side, and I think it was Mapu playing safety. It was J.C. Jackson and Mapu. Okay? J.C. Jackson bites on the play fake just a little bit, gives a little false step forward, and now he's caught. Okay? Now he's caught because Hill is like, neck and neck when he's basically next to him. And now when he's next to him, he's beat. He was squared up on him about eight yards off the ball. And the criticism I heard this week, well, he should have been up pressing him or he should have been deeper. No, he was where he needed to be because he had a safety behind him helping. The scheme was fine. That bracket coverage for him was fine. But J.C. Jackson, I tell my corners all the time, get yourself in a tilt. You're not disguising anything anyway. Everybody knows you're in zone. Everybody knows you're either in a cover 4 or a cover 2 bracket, whatever it is. Get yourself in a tilt and bail out. That's what he should have been doing. He should have been running off the bail out to that pass. And if Hill breaks down and comes down, then you trigger down and it's a 10-yard gain. It's a 5-yard gain, whatever. That's that problem. Mapu at safety takes a flat line straight across the field instead of angling towards the end zone. And he went right by him. That's execution, man. That's execution. That's not coaching.
That's not coaching.
That's not coaching. Are you kidding me? That's just atrocious defensive back play and not understanding the opponent on the field. Well, maybe you say it's coaching in the fact that they clearly weren't executing properly, I guess. But that wasn't it.
What about Waddle? Touchdown.
Oh, that's the one that really pissed me.
There was nobody there, Chris.
That was really pissed me off as far as the analysis this week on that play. Okay? They were in man coverage. Now, look, they said, well, you shouldn't have been in man coverage against that team. First of all, you're now in the red zone or 30 in. The whole drive, Mark, this was that last drive of the game you were just talking about where they can't get off the damn field, give their offense a chance when it was 24-17. Okay? They're coming down the field and they're playing zone coverage. The Patriots are playing zone coverage the entire drive, and they're just getting shredded. Now you get to the red zone where everything's more compact. You go man to man. I had no problem with that call, and you had it locked up. You had Hill come across the formation, and Jack Jones is going with him. Okay? And Hill ended up running like that wheel, just went across the formation and ran a wheel down the field to the end zone.
So, yeah. So it was just awful, Chris. And I'm going to tell you something else. Okay. So Jackson, you talk about J.C. Jackson. Okay. Jackson, and I don't know if it's from his time when he went to the Chargers, Chris. I'm not sure. But Jackson is the most undisciplined player on the field, Chris. I don't know if he doesn't, like, you don't know what you're getting from him from play to play. Okay. You mentioned he turned the wrong way. He bit on the play fake. It's every game, Chris. It's something with J.C. Jackson.
Audio problem, Mark. Sorry about that.
No, I know you did, but every game, Chris, it's something with J.C. Jackson. He's undisciplined. He's I don't know if it's from when he went to the Chargers, and that is coaching, Chris, because are they that desperate? They're going to keep putting him out there. Put him on the goddamn bench.
It is, but to finish that thing, Mark, with like I said, Jack Jones came across the formation with that motion. He was fine going with him downfield. Jonathan Jones has Waddle. Jonathan Jones is on Waddle. He's got an inside technique, perfect. All he's got to do is cover him. Instead, he decides he's going to switch. And he's going to cover Hill, except he doesn't tell anybody. He doesn't tell Jack Jones. He decides he's on his own. He doesn't turn his head. You don't see him turn back and tell anybody anything. He just goes. And that left Waddle wide open. That's not a coaching problem, Mark. So to me, I don't want to hear anybody talk about the coaches suck on the defense this week. It wasn't on them. This was all execution as far as I'm concerned. And they're just, once again, they're not good enough, period. They're not good enough.
All right.
So.
Well, that's a player personnel issue. And Jesus, who is our GM?
That's it. Yeah, he can't pick players. He can't put the players on the field. So you want to blame coaching for that? Fine. But otherwise, this was a whole execution player problem in this game. And maybe that's why my mic keeps going out, Joe, because I'm too pissed off about everything right now. So
maybe.
That's it. So Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, when we come back, buckle up. Catone's comments is next.
No one ever thinks they'll be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, go to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Time for Catone's comments.
So this week, another one of Bill Belichick's cronies gets fired. Josh McDaniels goes out to Vegas. Why he went to Vegas, I have no idea. But he goes to Vegas. He takes poor Dave Ziegler with him, becomes his GM, uproots him. And what happens? They lasted was it even 2 years? I don't even, year and a half. They fired him this week. Got rid of
25 games, Mark.
Right? 25 games they lasted.
26 games.
Get rid of McDaniels. They get rid of Ziegler. They get rid of the offensive coordinator who also followed McDaniels, who was also on the Patriots staff. They get rid of him. They bench Jimmy Garoppolo. He won't be starting tomorrow on Sunday. He's benched. So are you kidding me? Really? Are you kidding me? So listen, the Belichick coaching tree, nobody's been a success. Patricia, McDaniels twice. The guy, Dayball, with the Giants, not successful as a head coach. Maybe he was a decent coordinator, not as a head coach. Bill O'Brien, he was 3 or 4 games over 500 with the Texans, but he wasn't a great head coach. But he had a lot of other coaching experience outside of Belichick. So he's a little branch on the tree, but he's not really a Belichick disciple like McDaniels and the rest of these guys and Patricia and I almost forgot about Joe Judge, that cartoon character, right? You want to talk about a disgrace with the Giants. And listen, Bill himself, what success has he had pre-Brady and post-Brady? So pre-Brady, he struggled with New England, got them, they improved a little bit. And then when Brady gets there, they go on their run. With Cleveland, okay, mediocre, made the playoffs one year, nothing spectacular. Ends up getting run out of there. Okay, so what has he done without Brady? Really not a whole heck of a lot. His staff has done not a whole heck of a lot because his system, the Patriot way and his system. You know what the Patriot way is? The Patriot way is don't spend money because the owner's too cheap. Okay, they're 30th in real cash spending in the entire damn league. Okay. Oh, well, in Bill we trust. He'll take care of that for us. Yeah. Okay. How's that working out for you, Mr. Kraft? If it isn't. So they're at the bottom of the league in real cap spending. Okay. You seem to think that Bill can coach these guys up. Listen, it was the quarterback. It was number 12 who brought the talent level to a different level because he was the greatest player who ever did it. And then you let him walk out the door. But now you're thinking about what to do with Belichick. Give him a suitcase, get him a cup of coffee, put him on a plane, and say, "See ya, Bill. It's time to go." You did it to Brady. You're worrying about. Listen, Belichick's time is gone. It's over. The other people that are on the radio say, "Oh, we lost his fastball." If that's what you want to call it, okay. He lost his fastball. But his time is gone. His offense is archaic. What O'Brien is running, he's trying to put things in motion and schemes. Listen, it's based on Ron Earhart, a system, Charlie Weiss. This is a system from 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Guys like Andy Reid and McVay and Shanahan, they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you. You know why all of this worked here? Not because you had great talent. Your receivers didn't get great separation, just like they're not getting separation now. But Brady could throw the ball in a window the size of a goddamn coffee cup. That's why. And he could put the ball where it needed to be, no matter what the separation was. So first down. You don't have that anymore. There might be 3 quarterbacks in the history of the league that could do that. He was one of them. You're never getting that again. So move on from Bill. His coaching tree is terrible. And Mr. Kraft, it's time you rethink your business model and how you're going to move forward with this team, because what you think worked with Bill Belichick was because you had number 12 here. So let's rethink it. Please rethink it, because this is going to get uglier and uglier as time moves on, Chris. And I don't know what you think, Chris, but listen, I've just had enough of this whole situation. And McDaniels getting fired this week was just like, it was like icing on the cake, because listen, this should be Bill's faith. What do you think they're going to do? Okay, even if they win 3 or 4 games down the stretch, what are they going to win? 6 games, 7 games? You're going to end up drafting what? 14th and 15th again? Every year you're going to draft 14th and 15th. You're just sputtering and spinning your wheels. You're not going anywhere. And then the topper was this week, they asked Belichick about his wide receiver room. And you want to talk about driving me crazy? And they asked him about Butte, Keyshawn Butte.
Yeah.
He says, well, our wide receiver room is very competitive. And we got people competing, and the people who compete are the people that are on the field. You got people that are competing? What are you watching? You're watching Juju Smith-Schuster compete? You're watching Devontae Parker? You're watching him compete? Are you kidding me? Jalen Reed has been cut by 3 teams. What the hell is he competing for? What's he competing to get on a bus? What's he competing for? Put the kid Butte on. Nope, he didn't toe tap, and he put on Instagram, "Free me." So now you're going to punish this kid, and he's not going to play. You don't have a competitive receiver room, Bill. You have a receiver room that stinks. They stink. That's your competition. You got Douglas and you had Bourne, who's now out for the season, and you got nothing else. Your receiver room stinks. There's a difference between you stink and competitiveness. It's not a competitive room, Bill. They stink. Take that to the bank, Chris.
Yeah.
You
Well,
get your wish. I just read that there's rumors that there might be a Commanders trade for Belichick.
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up in a second after I gave you the numbers, but okay, let's just address that. Okay, first of all, they're playing the Commanders coincidentally this week, who suck just as bad, and we'll get to that in the next segment. Okay, as the Patriots do, and they just traded away everybody they had on defense. So what are we talking about now? All of a sudden, they're trading Belichick, Mark. They're going to trade Belichick to Washington, and then he can get the gang all back again. He can get McDaniels down there. He can go get Judge and Patricia and all that stuff. You know, maybe they can get a new bus for him. You know, in a trade package.
Chris, listen,
that's not going to happen. I'm going to give you his tree in a second.
Okay, but listen, Tom Brady went to the biggest joke franchise in the history of football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He went there. They won a Super Bowl. Year 2, they blow the coverage on Cooper Kupp. He brings them back in that game, that NFC Championship game. Because if he sneaks into the Super Bowl, he wins that one too. They win 2 in a row with him. Okay, so I don't want to hear any more about.
That was with the coach. Mark always calls who was the coach down there? What the hell was his name?
The freaking cartoon character.
Called him the cartoon character.
Oh my God! Now I'm drawing a blank. But anyways, so listen.
Look, Mark. Here's his
go to the coaching. Go to the coaching.
Here's his coaching tree. Okay, there's only a couple of guys that are above 500. So you got Al Groh, who's got a 563 winning percentage. Okay, all right. With the Jets, he was 9-7. Okay.
Yeah, but that was in 1977.
He only coached for like a half an hour. So okay, Nick Saban. Okay, the great Nick Saban, under 500, 469. Romeo Crennel. 337. Okay. Eric Mangini, 413. And this is all their winning percentages. Jim Schwartz, remember him? 363. Bill O'Brien's one of the only other guys that he's above. He's got a 52-48 record. He's a 520. Matt Patricia, 314. Should never coach a footballer again. Brian Flores, a 490. Okay. Joe Judge, 303. Okay. 303. Brian Daboll, okay, 460. Josh McDaniels, 377. And I don't see Charlie Weiss on here, but his numbers aren't great either.
No.
I mean, this is his coach. They're all up. There's nobody above 500, Mark.
No.
They stink.
Chris.
They can't coach.
No.
And Belichick's numbers would be that too without Brady.
They would be.
He's a 500 coach or worse. Without Brady. So, I mean, when you talk about all this, like you said, with his coaching tree and McDaniels getting fired, Mark, look, it just reminds you of the trade deadline this week, too. They didn't do anything at the trade deadline. So what's that mean? All these guys, this mismanagement of this team. So that means you're going to re-sign Duggar? You're going to re-sign Uche? You're going to re-sign these guys? Or you're just going to let them walk out the door for nothing? For nothing. Again.
Chris, he's not going to re-sign those guys. I told you this last year when they drafted Mapu.
Because he's trying to win. Still trying to win every week.
And they drafted Keon White, Chris. Those were their replacements. I told you the night after the draft ended, I said, this is Uche's last year and Duggar's last year in New England. He drafted their replacements, Chris. Because he's not going to spend the money on those guys.
So he's just but then trade them.
He should.
Then trade them. Get something for him. Get a 5th-round pick. Whatever. Get something. Don't just let these guys walk out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about mismanagement to the nth degree, Mark. To the nth degree. And by the way, if they end up with a top 10 pick, you want Belichick picking that? You want him you want picking that player? Does anybody out there want to pick in that player? Let us know in Heated Hotline, please.
No. I don't want to pick in that player. That's for sure.
Well, Joe,
not after what I've seen.
He's right. You continue to be right. You've been calling for this for 2 years now with Belichick. You've been calling for this for 2 years. So, hey, Catone's comments was presented by Corso and Catone. The real deal New England feel. It's sports. It's passion. It is the real deal New England feel. Hey, when we come back, we're going to welcome in the nation. We're going to have that preview of the Washington. I was about to say Redskins. We have the Washington Commanders game against the Patriots, and that's coming up right after this.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's
it.
it.
What is wrong with you?
Get him on this damn show.
You lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England feel. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Hey, Saturdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us. You can also catch the Pats Nation, and that's going to be coming up right now. Let's have it, Joe. $1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. The Patriots kick off against the Washington Commanders at home, and what will be about 14 people in the stadium watching it, right, Mark?
We couldn't get that lucky, Chris. You watch, they'll sell the place out again. That's why Kraft, let 40,000 people not show up and see what he does.
You said there were some empty seats there.
There actually were. In that Buffalo game. Yeah. In that Buffalo game, Chris, is the first time in that section where your seats are that people weren't there. First time I've seen that in years.
The only way this is going to change, you want to know when this is going to change? You know, when he starts taking, he's got like B celebrities, Joe, you'll understand. He's got B celebrities sitting there with him in the booth, Bon Jovi and the kid from Backstreet Boys or whatever that group is from Boston, Wahlberg, that kid sitting over there in the booth with him. When the B celebrities become C celebrities like you and me.
New Kids on the Block, T-Rex, not Backstreet Boys.
Well, when the B celebrities become C celebrities like me and Mark sitting in that booth with them, then you're going to see Belichick go. But so they kick off against the Commanders, and let's break this thing down because these are two bad football teams. Okay, the Commanders are coming in at 3-5. We're 2-6. Last year the Commanders were 4-4 at this time. Not a ton trending up for them, and they dumped a lot of talent this week on defense. But offensively, Mark, what do you see? You want to win this game. How are you going to do it?
Listen, Washington's
if you want to win this game.
No, I don't. But Washington's secondary, Chris, is awful. They're one of the worst secondaries in the league. Who are you throwing the ball to? That's a problem. Who are you throwing the ball to? Right? So but they're just as bad against the run. So I am going to say this, Chris. I've been saying it every week. I sound like a broken record. This is the week you should be able to run between 150 and 200 yards. Against this team, Chris, you absolutely should be able to run for close to 200 yards. I'm telling you, when this game's over, Chris, you're going to say, they had 178 yards rushing, 190 yards rushing. This is the week that it happens. And then you'll be able to throw the ball, play action, Douglas in motion. Let Douglas touch the ball 8, 9, 10 times this week because you're not going to have Bourne, Chris. So you're going to have to figure something else out because Bourne's not there. Parker's probably game time decision, but I think he's going to be ruled out with the concussion, right? So you're going to have to activate Thornton. And then the question's going to be, do you go with 4 receivers or does he go with his 5? Because if it goes with 5, he's going to activate Butte. Your theory is he's only going to go with 4 and 3 tight ends. If Farrell Brown can play, because he's been limited on the injury report. So we'll see about him. But your theory is they won't activate Butte. They'll go with 4 receivers. And if they're going with those 4 receivers, that's the Juju, Schmidt, Schuster, Riga, Douglas, and Thornton.
He doesn't even look right in the uniform, Riga.
Oh, no.
He doesn't even look like an athlete. Looks like me putting the uniform on and going out there. Listen.
I don't know. I don't get it. But, Chris, they're going to run the ball. Jesus Christ, run the damn ball. And the offensive line, Chris, has to protect him because you will be able to throw off a play action against this team, Chris. You will. Listen, Mac Jones, Chris, the Patriots are like in the top 3 in the league, allowing pressure on their quarterback. He faces pressure 40% of the time, Chris, that he goes back to pass. He's facing pressure from the opposing defense. That's one of the highest percentages in the league. Yeah. They should be able, with the two guys they traded this week, Chris, they should be able to protect him. They should.
Because they traded Young and they traded Sweat. And those 2 guys out of the front 4 that they had, that was that. And so that's significant because Mac Jones, look, he keeps staring down. I mean, mentally he's beat up. He's beat up physically. He's beat up mentally. You see him drop back to pass. He's hearing those shadows and seeing those footsteps that aren't there. And he's looking down instead of looking up. And maybe this week with those two guys being traded, maybe psychologically Mac Jones is saying, oh, okay, all right, I can breathe a little bit. But Trent Brown may not play in this game either. So,
Yeah, that's an issue because the ankle was bad.
so as much as I don't care for the player, he's been their best offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So you're going to
And
have to protect him. Yeah. But they are going to run 12 personnel, Mark. It's going to drive you nuts. They're going to run 2 tight ends, one running back, and they're going to drive you friggin' crazy. It will happen. It will happen. And defensively, Mark, look, breaking down this Washington offense, and I'm looking at them, and, the problem with these teams is it's unknown. They're the unknown. We don't play them a lot. But I look at Howell, okay, and I look at his numbers on the season, and he's a middle of the pack kind of guy. He's throwing for 2,100 yards. He's got, he throws for 2,100 yards. He's got 13 touchdowns. He's got 8 interceptions. So he turns the ball a lot, sacked 41 times, which is a lot, Yep. So he's seeing the pressure and feeling the pressure over there too. But he does throw for a lot of touchdowns, and they do have some weapons on the outside that can hurt them. And the problem with the Patriots defense over the last couple of weeks has been the secondary. It's been the continuity. It's been the communication in the secondary. We talked about it last week, how they allowed that Jalen Waddle touchdown was lack of communication in the secondary. And these are from your starters. This is with Jones. This is with Jack Jones. This is with Jonathan Jones. These are your starters. Duggar, guys like that. Mapu, okay, you want to give him a pass. He's a rookie. He screws up every once in a while. Fine. Okay. But if you don't seal it up in the secondary and tackle well, this kid, Howell, he'll throw for yards and he'll throw for touchdowns because that's the one thing he will do. And the other thing you got to be careful of is the running game. They're going to want to run the game with Robinson. He's their ace. He's their guy. And with that offense, I do think they can run the ball. I don't think they have a great offensive line. I don't. And I think our defensive front has been playing good over the last couple of weeks. Although run percentages have been pretty good against the Patriots, how many yards per run that they're getting. So I think you got 2 bad football teams. You got 2 bad offenses in this situation. So to me, I think Washington comes in, and I think they're sitting there saying, we got to run the ball too. They get a similar kind of game plan. We got to run the ball. But the Patriots have got to win on first down. They can't get off the field when it's 3rd and short, 4th and short. They've shown it time and time again. And allowing these plays, these 10-play drives, 15-play drives, 12-play drives. Mark, they got the ball. Miami got the ball with 8 minutes left in that game. I told you they're going to have the ball all the way to the end of the game. And they practically did.
They practically
in the
did.
end zone, for a touchdown. So you got to get off the field, defense, and give the ball to the offense. I don't want to hear Jerome Mayo talk about anymore. Hey, we're going to continue to give the ball to the – they're not continuing. You're not. You're not getting off the field. So win on first down. That's the key. You win on first down, get yourself off the field, and give Mac Jones and that offense the opportunity. That's the only thing you're going to do, Mark, in order to win this game. That's the only way to beat anybody.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
And so
it's a 3-point spread.
It's a 3-point spread. I'm going to go 24-20 New England.
Hey, picking the Patriots today.
I'm going to pick them. And I'm only picking them because Washington traded those 2 guys on the defensive line.
So they cover by
Otherwise,
a point.
They cover by a point, 24. Because, Chris, if you don't win this week, you may go 2-15.
Yeah. I got the Patriots winning this game 27-17.
Okay.
I think that the Patriots will pull up, I think they'll go back to putting up some points and everybody will get excited again. Ooh, and with 12 personnel and Gilsecki and all that. So that's how I see it. And so we'll see what happens and let us know, in Heated Hotline after the game next week. Tell us how wrong we really were on these predictions. And speaking of predictions, when we come back, we're going to go Sunday spread and make you some money right after this.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. CORSOLawGroup.com.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. All right, Mark, we're stepping up to the sports book now. We're having in our Sunday spread. Look, we've been pretty good. I mean,
we've been very good.
If you're listening to us, if you're listening to Mark, especially, I will tell you, Mark's making some money in this. Who'd you have last week?
Last week I had Colorado.
Because I know you're not going to let us forget.
I had Colorado getting the points. They covered. They were getting like 16.5 points. They covered late
I
against
was so
UCLA.
pissed off, and I forgot.
Yep, they covered. You laughed at me. But I took Dallas. They covered. And actually, I took Seattle, who did not cover, but I got a push.
Yeah.
They were given 4, and they won by 4 late.
Well, if you used them in a tease, it would have worked.
If you used them in a tease, you won. If you used my teams in a tease, you won a lot of money. Yeah.
But Dallas was your loss.
Chris, I haven't lost. My teams have not lost. I haven't lost a game in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I haven't lost.
Dallas was definitely your lock of the week.
That was my lock of the week. Dallas was my lock of the week. Yes,
I'll tell you what. Every time I've tried to use Denver in anything, either against them, with them, I get screwed every single time. So I'm staying away from Denver from now on.
What did I tell you? I said, Chris, as bad as they look, some reason they're in the game against Kansas City, and I don't know why.
They always playing tough. So, Mark, this week, what do you got?
This week, Chris, I'm going to go back Saturday night. Listen.
Please don't pick the Giants.
Nope. The Giants. Listen, I got my 1 win with the Giants. Saturday night, they're getting 13.5 points at home. Take Colorado again. This time they're playing Oregon State. Pay attention to the injury report. Make sure Sanders' son is quarterbacking. He's been hurt. If he plays, take the 13.5. It's a 10 o'clock Eastern time game on ESPN against Oregon State. Take them. Sunday, I'm taking Philadelphia -3 against Dallas at Philly. Philly's going to wipe the floor with them. Okay? Because Dallas, I don't think is that good. I knew they'd win coming out of a break, but they're going to get killed. And I'm going to tell you what else I like. I like -2 at home. -2 at home. Cincinnati. Because I'm going to tell you something. The Buffalo Bills stink. That game against New England was more about Buffalo than it was New England. Cincinnati's going to destroy them Sunday.
I don't know what to do with either one of those teams. Those two teams are so schizophrenic. I'm running away from them. So for me, Mark, I look at that Seattle at Baltimore game. Yep. And I know you liked Seattle last week, but Baltimore, like I said, I think they're a fraud, but they always seem to. They're going to cover this. It's a 5.5 point spread. Okay, that they're favored over Seattle. They're going to cover that, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think Baltimore's going to lay the wood to Seattle. So look for that game. And then you got the Chargers at listen, I've been betting the Jets a lot this year. And they've been coming through. I know we all hate the Jets, but when it comes to money, we can't hate anybody, right? So I like the Jets at home. They're home dogs against the Chargers. I just don't believe in that coach, and I don't believe in the Chargers. I don't. They're always going to find a way to screw up games that they should win easily.
Yeah.
And so take the points, take the Jets at home. I also like Philly with 3 points too. So listen, I like Colorado too. I was pissed off at myself, Mark, last week. I was involved, busy, and I didn't bet the game. And by the time I got on there, it was too late. And the spread became 9.5 points in game, and I didn't want to touch it. Thank God. Right? So
hey,
listen to us. Listen to Mark. You can make some money for sure. So Corso and Catone was presented by Corso Law Group. Hey, get on, listen, watch all of our shows. They're up for you. Make sure you subscribe so you can get those notifications and come back. 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern next Saturday. We're going to recap that Washington game. Welcome in the Pats Nation for the preview of their trip to Germany, where they're going to take on the Colts, Mark. That's early in the morning for me.
It's real early for you.
That's real early. So stick around for that. And, of course, Catone's comments, Sunday spread, anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Find Corso and Catone on iHeartRadio, iTunes, or wherever you podcast. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, Corso and Catone, and catch the chaos at 7 p.m. on Saturday.